If there really was some higher power of humor in this world, it had clearly decided to mess with Liam today. He stood in front of the sexologist's office door, clutching a questionnaire with a fake name, Alex Johnson. Cold sweat dotted his forehead, and somewhere out there, his friends were probably raising glasses at the pub, toasting to the last virgin night. Liam hated that nickname as much as he hated his mother's calls that always began with, "So, honey, when are you going to introduce us to someone special?" He inhaled, exhaled, and pushed the door open and froze. Sitting behind the desk was her, Sophia, his first love from high school, the girl he'd spent months too shy to even hold hands with, the one who laughed at his computer bug jokes even when they made absolutely no sense. The one he'd finally managed to kiss at the spring carnival, the same one he'd run away from afterward. "Good afternoon," Sophia said in a perfectly professional tone, looking up from her notepad. "Please have a seat." Liam nearly bolted back into the hallway. "I think I got the wrong office. I was looking for the dentist," he blurted, already backing away. "Dentists usually don't keep anatomical mannequins in their offices," she replied calmly with the faintest curve of a smile. At that moment, as Liam tried to sidestep toward the door, he stumbled over a chair and crashed straight into the demonstration mannequin. The mannequin wobbled, wrapped its plastic arms around him, and together they went tumbling to the floor. "Perfect entrance," Sophia commented dryly. "Please get up. Dear universe, open up and let me vanish into another dimension." Liam begged silently as he stood blushing as red as a tomato. She pretended not to recognize him. It was so perfectly, painfully professional that he almost believed it. "Or maybe she just wants me to." So Sophia said, handing him a folder. "Before we begin, please fill out this questionnaire. It'll help me better understand your situation." Liam sat down, holding the pen like it was some kind of weapon of mass destruction. The questions came one after another. What are you afraid of? How would you describe your level of social anxiety? And then came the killer. Describe your first sexual experience. His hand trembled. He could have lied. He could have made something up, but his brain apparently had chosen betrayal. He wrote, tried, panicked, and ran away from the girl. He pushed the folder aside, praying Sophia would just skim past that part. She read in silence, raising an eyebrow only once. Then she shrugged. "Interesting. I wonder how many runners like that are out there." Her voice was emotionless, but her eyes glinted. Liam felt the urge to sink into the floor for the second time that day. "All right," she went on. "Let's start simple. Homework. Maintain eye contact with a woman for 10 seconds. "Yeah, no problem," Liam muttered, though his heart was already pounding like a drum at a rock concert. "Good. Let's try it right now." He lifted his eyes. Her gaze was calm, but there was something dangerous hiding in it. Memory, history, that springtime kiss he'd been so afraid of. They stared at each other while the timer on her phone ticked away. 3 seconds. Liam's heart pounded so hard he was sure she could hear it. 5 seconds. The urge to run returned full force. 8 seconds. Sophia gave the faintest hint of a smile. 10 seconds. "Good," she said. "But next time, maybe try sweating a little less." He looked away and felt a bead of sweat slide down his temple. Should I just die here and now or live to see the next appointment? He thought. "Next week we'll have a group session," she continued. "I recommend you attend." "Group?" Liam nearly squeaked. "You mean other people?" "Yes, other people. Ordinary people with their own problems. You're not alone in this." "Oh no." A social nightmare multiplied by 10. He wanted to refuse to say he had urgent work, a sudden move, the apocalypse, anything. But instead, he nodded. "Great," Sophia said, jotting something down in her notebook. "I'll see you there." Liam walked out of the office feeling like a man who had just signed a contract with the devil. But the worst part was that despite all the shame and absurdity of the situation, somewhere deep inside him, a tiny spark had flickered to life. "What if this time I don't run?" 2 words that made Liam wish he could wake up in a cold sweat and find himself in a parallel universe. One without women, without friends calling him the last virgin night. Instead, he found himself in a room with a round table, plastic chairs, and the distinct smell of cheap coffee. At the front stood Sophia in a fitted professional dress, notebook in hand, looking like she was about to brief the United Nations rather than lead a therapy group for the socially anxious. "Good evening, everyone. I'm glad you're here," she said with that calm, confident tone. Liam had always considered a superpower. Tonight, we'll be talking about our fears and learning to accept ourselves as we are. 5 other people sat around the table. A guy with hair so long it practically hid his face, staring at the floor. A middle-aged woman in a tracksuit clutching a stuffed teddy bear. A businessman in a tie, nervously scrolling through his phone. A girl with pink hair and a nose ring, the only one who actually looked happy to be there. And an older man with thick eyebrows who seemed like he'd wandered in from a yoga class by mistake. Perfect. We're the complete collector's edition of human neurosis, Liam thought. Let's start simple, said Sophia. Each of you can briefly share what you fear most when interacting with other people. Liam was already considering jumping out the nearest window, but luckily the pink-haired girl spoke first. "I'm afraid no one will ever take me seriously because of how I look," she said, flashing a slightly defiant smile. Then the man in the tie. "I constantly think everyone sees me as incompetent." The woman with the teddy bear admitted she was afraid of being alone. The older man said he feared losing his sense of control. And then it was Liam's turn. He swallowed hard as if trying to get some air past the lump in his throat. I once dated a girl," Liam began and immediately regretted it. Sophia looked up from her notebook and suddenly he could smell the spring air again, feel the trembling of her hand in his. "And when things got to the next step, I panicked and ran." Silence. Even the pink-haired girl stopped smiling. Sophia gave a short nod and made a note. "Thank you, Liam. That was brave." He nearly fainted. "She used my real name, but no one else noticed." They all assumed it was part of the exercise. Only Liam knew she had seen right through his fake Alex Johnson the moment she read it. Then came the exercises. The first, tell a stranger one thing you are ashamed of. Liam got paired with the businessman in the tie. "I sometimes imagine clients in their underwear during meetings," the man confessed. "So I won't be as nervous. I still haven't, Liam mumbled. "Oh," said the businessman, and for the first time looked at him, not with pity, but with respect. "That's actually kind of impressive. You're holding strong." The second exercise, maintain eye contact with a random partner. And of course, Fake decided to mock him again. He got Sophia. They sat across from each other. The timer ticked down 10 seconds. 3. His palms were damp. 6. She didn't blink. 9. He could swear she was reading every thought he'd ever had. "Good," she said finally. "But try clenching your fists a little less." The group laughed. Liam felt his face burn, but somehow it felt lighter inside. When the session ended, everyone started leaving. Liam planned to be the first out the door, but Sophia stopped him in the hallway. "You did better than I expected," she said. Liam**. He froze. "You knew from the start," he whispered. "Of course. You think my memer***, why***, is that bad?" He couldn't think of a single thing to say. He just stared at the floor, wishing it would swallow him whole. "By the way," Sophia added, "next week we'll have another exercise. Try to create a romantic atmosphere at home. Candles, music, just to practice being comfortable with yourself." He nodded, not daring to ask,